All right, we're going to finish up 2.1. This is example 6, and don't get too concerned about these big numbers with fractions. So this is just a fancy way to get you to multiply mixed numbers. Okay, so it says a city is resurfacing a basketball court. Find the area of the court, and remember to find the area is length times width. Okay, length times width will find the area. So that's just an estimate. Area equals length times width. That's what that means. So I'm going to change length and width and multiply these together. You have 21 1/3 times 13 1/2. So we end up with multiply 21 times 3. That's 63 plus 1. That gives us 64 over 3. That's how we got this one. 13 times 2 is 26. 27 over 2. That's how we got this one. So now we change these into improper fractions. Now they're dividing out the common factors. So 3 and 27 both can be divided out by 3. So you end up with 3 divided by 3 is 1. 27 divided by 3 is 9. We're just reducing it early. That's what all this is. 64 and 2 both can be cut in half. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 64 divided by 2 is 32. Now we multiply. Top number here. 32 times 9, it gives you 288 over 1, which is the same as just 288. Anytime you have a number over 1, you can remove the denominator. So the area of the court is 288 square meters. All right. You can pause it and kind of follow along there if you need to and go slower. Same thing here. We have a practice field and wants to know the area. Area is multiplication. Length times width, so we're going to multiply 80 and 1/2
A
times
rectangular
30
lawn
and
is
3/4.
10 5/6 yards by 8 2/5 yards. Find the area
So
of the lawn.
I know that this
First,
one
let's
is
draw a picture to
on my
represent our
notes. I put
lawn.
the answer to the last question. So if you want to
So we
see the
have a
answer to the
rectangle,
last one, go look
and
on
we
my
can label
notes.
it with
And
the
this is a
length and the
different
width.
problem. Not sure why
So
they
our
did that,
length
but
is 10 5/6 yards, and the width is 8 2/5 yards. Now that we have those two dimensions labeled, we can find the area of the lawn. Remember, to find the area of a rectangle, we have the formula that area A is equal to the length times the width. So we can fill in our values. For the length, we have 10 5/6. And for the width, we have 8 2/5. So before we multiply these two numbers, let's take an estimate. When we estimate, we are going to round both mixed numbers to the nearest whole number. So 10 5/6 is closer to 11, so we can round up to 11. Then we'll multiply by 8 2/5, which we will round down because 8 2/5 is closer to 8. So now our estimate is 11 times 8, which is 88. So the area of our lawn is estimated to be 88 square yards. So when we find our final answer, we need to compare to this estimate to make sure that it's reasonable. Now let's go back to the original problem. In order to multiply these two mixed numbers, we need to write both of them as improper fractions. Let's start with 10 5/6. First, we will find the numerator by multiplying 10 times 6, which is 60, and adding 5, which is 65. Then, to find the denominator, we just use the same denominator as is in the fraction. So the denominator is 6. So 10 5/6 can be written as 65/6. Then we multiply, and to write 8 2/5 as an improper fraction, first to find the numerator, we multiply 8 times 5, which is 40, and add 2, which is 42. Then, to find the denominator, we keep the denominator in the original fraction. So our denominator is 5. So So 10 and 5/6 times 8 and 2/5 is equal to 65/6 times 42/5. So now to multiply two fractions, you multiply the numerators, which is 65 times 42, and multiply the denominators, which is 6 times 5. So now we can simplify a little bit. We see a common factor of 5 in 65 and 5. So we'll divide out a 5 in the numerator and denominator. Then we also see 42 and 6 share a common factor of 6. So we can divide out a 6 and simplify the numerator and denominator. So now let's multiply. 13 times 7 is 91, and 1 times 1 is 1. So we have 91 over 1, which is just 91. So we found that the area of the lawn is 90.
All right, 91 square yards. That was a tough one, but go ahead and pause the video if you need to. And this one is even tougher, so if you can email me the